They say that scent is one of the strongest triggers of memory. This is true certainly for me. It's interesting. Whenever I smell a certain type of cheese, my mind is immediately taken not to cheese as a memory, but to my grandmother's basement, where she had an old suitcase that was filled with her Christmas decorations. And that suitcase smelled exactly like a certain kind of cheese. And the same is true, for me at least, with when I read scriptures or hear music. Many times when we're reading passages from the prophet Isaiah, I can hear in my mind strains from Handel's Messiah. And I have to say that in singing Faith of Our Fathers, the only thing I can hear in my mental memory is Bing Crosby's Christmas album. But we have a lot of strains today about inheritance, and I think memories are part of our inheritance in scents and sounds, things that trigger in our minds people, places, experiences that we have had throughout our lives. And today, of course, we read from Genesis, the very beginning of our faith of our fathers, Father Abraham. I remember when I was in Sunday school, we used to sing a song called Father Abraham Had Many Sons, and I hated this song because we had to stand up. Not only did we have to sing, we had to stand up and we had to do a little dance with it too, and I just had no time for that as a child. I think mostly the song was meant to wear us out before we came back into the main service. But there was the right arm, left foot, right foot, whole body, you know. And so we sang about Father Abraham. So that's one memory, one musical memory and physical memory that is certainly emblazoned in my mind. But we have this idea of memory, of inheritance, of heritage. And certainly here in Tuxedo, we have a lot of that too, don't we? We look at houses and think about the stories of the people who lived there, our church, the weddings and life moments that have happened here, the baptisms, the funerals, the day-to-day grind of life, just the daily worship that we carry out here. And we can look around and see tangible reminders of all the people who have come before us, whose names are inscribed on the walls and in the windows. This inheritance, what is it? What is it that this life of memory of the past has to do with the present that we live? I have been here for 8 years now and have seen a lot of things happen in that short time. People have left us, either have moved away or have moved to heaven. People have joined us. I've seen children, blessedly in recent years, filling our church. It's a wonderful thing to see, to be a part of this whirl of life that goes on. But again, what does this treasure of memory have to do with us today? I think the treasure of memory and the danger in not remembering all that, the danger in eschewing it, is that we start to live unto ourselves and not unto one another and not unto those who come after us. Because if we remember not just our lives, but the lives of our families and those who have come before us, we can remember their struggles, how they strove to build a better life here in this country, how we stand on their shoulders. And one of the things that I have learned here, I've learned so much, and I'm so grateful to continue to be the rector here, because every day is a learning experience. And I have to I have to chuckle because I really feel like I've found my people, that we can go toe to toe with eccentricities and just enjoy every moment of it. I showed up to church today in a white cassock and nobody said a word, which is fantastic. I have not been elevated to Pope, but the cassock I'm wearing today belonged to my dear departed friend, Father Reed, whose funeral I attended earlier this year in Philadelphia. And he wore it when he was the Dean of Gibraltar. So again, the memory of friends and memory of the church in different times and places. So what I have learned, going back to what I was saying earlier, what I have learned here is that the importance of having shoulders to stand on. I began to learn this when I was in Philadelphia, and I was on the board of Episcopal Community Services, which is a fantastic organization in Philadelphia that's been around since the 1870s. And during my time there, one of the directors retired, and a new director came on. And it was a time to reevaluate the mission of the organization. And it has, since the 1870s, has done incredible things in the moment. So in the 1870s, it was helping people who were suffering from the diseases of the 1870s, things that were happening at that time. In the 1980s, it was helping people with AIDS. And in the 2000s, when I was there, we took a hard look at what was our mission. Where can we serve people now? Based on our memory, based on our history of service, how can we be attentive to the needs today? And what we decided was that while we can't solve all the problems of the world, or certainly of our city, we can focus deeply on a limited number of people and help raise them up, to give them the shoulders to stand on that they wouldn't have generationally, because they have lived in a cycle of poverty for many, many years. Their families have. And so by giving young people shoulders to stand on, they're poised to succeed. And what does success look like? Well, it's finishing school, being able to get a job, being able to provide for your family, holding your head up high, being a proud member of society. And we can see all over the world, not just in Philadelphia or around our own neighborhood here, that so many people are deprived of that. And especially we see the generations, millennia-long struggle in the Holy Land of struggles for territory and resources and power, and the poor people of Gaza starving. We see these heartbreaking images of people carrying pots and pans to be filled with what I don't know, but whatever is literally falling from the sky. And our church, along with the Diocese of New York, is trying to do something, some drop in the ocean to help. And I'll tell you about that later in the announcements. But we have partnered with the Diocese of Jerusalem, which is the Episcopal Diocese of Jerusalem. We have a diocese there, and we have a cathedral there, St. George's Cathedral. And so much good is done. Just in normal times, it's hard. I was there, and Pete was there in 2019, and we had quite an extensive tour on our pilgrimage of the many different mission sites. Everything from a high school to a hospital to an orphanage. I'm also part of the Order of St. John, which has a hospital there, which was one of the ones that was targeted, where the primary focus is on eye health, because believe it or not, one of the things that is a problem there is eye health, because people just don't have the attention they need medically. And what they need is for health care from the beginning of their lives in order to stave off these problems later in life. You know, I complain because every 6 months I go to the ophthalmologist and they dilate my eyes and I have a few hours of discomfort in wearing dark sunglasses. But think of all these people who have no access to eye care or any other kind of care, much less eye care. So we try, through the Episcopal Diocese, through the Order of St. John, to, again, be shoulders for people to stand on, to gain physical health so that they may be able to live whole lives, so that they may be able to begin to provide for their families. But that's hard to do when all things are cut off. And I thought about this when we were singing our opening hymn, O Day of Rest and Gladness. Isn't it a nice thing that we are so privileged, and we shouldn't take this lightly? It's easy to do because we just show up to church. Isn't it nice that we have the opportunity to just be here, to just come to church, to be with each other, to sing beautiful hymns, to see gorgeous art around us, and to be in one another's company without fear? O day of rest and gladness. That's a gift that we should not take for granted. But I was struck by the third verse. Today on weary nations the heavenly manna falls. To holy convocations the silver trumpet calls, where gospel light is glowing with pure and radiant beams, and living water flowing with soul-refreshing streams. That's our job. That's our call as Christians. There have been, and there always will be, weary nations around the world where people are suffering, where the poor are oppressed, where the innocent are unlawfully abducted and imprisoned. I never thought it would be in our country, but it is today. And so it is our job as Christians, as Episcopalians, as members of St. Mary's in Tuxedo Episcopal Church, to ensure that this third verse of this hymn is true. If we're just singing it, if we're just giving it lip service, it means nothing. It's our job to make it true. It's our job to make sure that the heavenly manna falls. It's our job to make sure that people hear the call of the trumpet. It's our job to show the light of the gospel and to spread its beams. It's our job to give to the thirsty the living waters of Jesus Christ. And so, as I often say, it's not necessarily easy to be a disciple of Jesus. It's really nice when we're right here in this place on Sunday, and it's air conditioned, and it's got ambient light and beautiful things and beautiful music, and we're all nicely dressed, and we have a coffee hour coming up where we can associate with one another. That's great. But that's just the frosting on the cake, isn't it? The real work of being a Christian is doing the things that are in the third verse of this hymn. So take heart and do not be discouraged, because the light of Christ will never go out. You are the light of Christ. Go forth into the world in the power of the Holy Spirit to do the work of Christ. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.